I know you saw the title of this video and you're probably shaking your damn head at me right now thinking, what the hell is this guy? What is this guy on about now? Like, what the heck is Niall trying to tell us with a title like, women say they want Lord Farquaad, but they actually want Shrek? Despite the funny title, hear me out, bros. Like, I think I'm onto something pretty genius here. As far as analogies go, I really do think I'm onto something pretty clever here. But you have to hear me out first. So let me explain myself. So the reason that women want Lord Farquaad and not Shrek is obviously because Shrek is 6 foot, right? Tall guy. I mean, you can't beat that. If you're not tall and you're like under, I don't know, 5'5", you may as well just give up, bro. There's no hope for you. Just skip off this video. If you're not tall, you're not going to get any goals. Sorry to tell you, bro. If you thought I was being serious there, you are clearly more of a clown than I thought you were, because this video has nothing to do with good looks. It has nothing to do with money, status, anything like that, right? This video specifically wants to look at the underlying dynamics between why women say they want something, but then actually want something else. I think that there's something very interesting to be gained from having this conversation. So to give you a little bit of context to this whole story, I was actually watching Shrek with my sister the other day. And if you haven't seen Shrek before, firstly, what the hell is wrong with you, bro? It's a classic. You can't not see Shrek. This video is going to kind of focus more on one specific scene or like one section of the movie. And the scene I'm referring to is the scene where Shrek is dressed as a knight. You know, he's rocking the sexy helmet. He's all dressed up. He's got Donkey at his side. The boys are back in town. Shrek is essentially going to save Fiona from the dragon, right? The scene is not only genius, but it's funny as hell. And I think that we can learn a hell of a lot from this scene. And I'll explain why. So Shrek rocks up, right? He's ready to kick some dragon ass. He's ready to take Fiona home, give her to Lord Farquaad, whatever, and then take back his damn swamp. Because that's all Shrek cares about, right? He's focused on his mission and his purpose. He wants his swamp back, and so he's going to complete the mission that was given to him. He gets to the castle, encounters this dragon, doesn't realize he's got to fight a bloody dragon. So instead of slaying the dragon like a real hero would, you know, with his sword and his might and his power, essentially Shrek manages to trick the dragon, and then he leaves Donkey to clean up the mess, as a good friend would obviously do. So eventually Shrek comes across Fiona's room. He finds the princess. She's fast asleep, taking a lekker, chilled nap, waiting for her hero to come and save the day, swoop her off her feet, and happily ever after, right? And this is what is so damn funny about this moment onwards in this scene. Anybody who's ever read a fairy tale will know the standard procedure to finding a sleeping princess, right? It's like the whole Sleeping Beauty narrative. Prince finds the beautiful princess lying fast asleep, and in order to wake her up, he needs to wake her up with true love's first kiss. What the hell does Shrek do? He shakes this damn princess like his life depends on it. Shakes her ass up, says, "Wake up, bro, we gotta get out of here now." She wakes up, she's all confused. She's like, "What is my love's name? What is the title of my hero? What do I call thee?" You know, and instead of saying, "I'm Prince Charming, I am whatever," he says, "Bro, I'm Shrek," right? Completely out of the blue, nothing to do with what a Prince Charming would usually be like. Fiona continues to bombard our hero Shrek with like, "You're supposed to kiss me in this way. You're supposed to sweep me off my feet. You're supposed to have slayed the damn dragon, homie, instead of like letting it fight a donkey." And then us running out of here like cowards, right? Shrek didn't go according to the plan. He didn't do what was expected of the typical hero. Now we look at Lord Farquaad on the other hand, and this is assuming that you don't know what his character is like. Spoiler alert, he's an absolute asshole. But let's assume that we don't know much about Lord Farquaad other than his initial kind of introduction or the way he's perceived to the rest of, what's the fairy tale land called? I didn't do my research for this video. Fairyland, Neverland, whatever you want to call it. He perceives himself, or at least the public has a certain perception of him as being the Prince Charming, the main kind of hero that everybody looks up to and respects. Lord Farquaad technically did everything by the book, right? He knew that he had to rescue the princess, which technically he did by kind of cowardly means, fair enough. But then he spoke romantically to her. He proceeds to carry himself like a Prince Charming. He proposes to her. He wifes her up, which is the kind of narrative that you're expected to do, even in our modern society. The name of the game is meet pretty girl, wine and dine her, show her love and affection, ask her to marry you, have kids, die. But tell me something, fellas. Who did Fiona end up with in the end? And I know you're going to say, "Oh, it's a movie, bro." And like, of course it was for the plot. And she ended up being an ogre herself. Spoiler alert, I should mention. But if you haven't watched Shrek, again, what are you doing, bro? She ends up with Shrek, right? And even though, fair enough, it may have been the movie's plan and wada, I think that her decision to end up with an ogre like Shrek makes perfect sense. But why did Shrek win the fight? Why did he end up with the princess, getting the girl, and riding off into happily ever after? I mean, there's like 4 Shreks, but we're assuming this is happily ever after here. I believe that Shrek won simply because Shrek was Shrek. He was authentic. He was himself. Shrek had a mission, a purpose, and he was so driven and focused on this mission that he let nothing else sway him in achieving his goal. It was Shrek's ability to be himself and to not be afraid of embodying his inner monster, his inner ogre, his inner true nature. And where a lot of guys like Lord Farquaad, for example, go terribly wrong is that they believe they've got to follow the traditional plan. They got to be the stereotypical romantic Prince Charming, so to speak, right? They think that they've got to be the ultimate gentleman, that they never have to put a foot wrong, that they always have to be polite. They got to wine and dine her at least 10 times before they can expect any kind of action. Ow, I just put my tongue, bro. Guys like Farquaad have all these ridiculous standards in their head that they've got to wait 3 days before they can text her, or they got to wait 3 dates before they can have sex, or they got to do all this stuff in order to prove their worth to this woman. And yes, before you think, Niall, you're an asshole, like you have to treat women with respect. Bro, I completely agree with you. Treat women like gems. Treat them with respect and kindness. All I'm saying is that most guys that we know of, and I know that you know some of them in your own life, are absolute pushovers, right? And the funny part of this whole thing is that women kind of believe this to be true as well and unknowingly contribute to this massive problem that we have, because women are raised to believe that they need to find a guy like Lord Farquaad, a guy that is completely perfect in every single way, not a single flaw, but then they wonder why they're attracted to Shrek. You hear these women, they go like, why am I so attracted to the bad boy? Why am I so attracted to Shrek when I know I should be after the guy that's nice to me, the guy that is always sweet, the one that is caring? But I keep coming back to damn ogre man Shrek. What the hell is going on, bro? And I'm telling you now, it is simply because Shrek is a man who does what he wants. He is true to his inner self. Right? It's as simple as that. He is strong and secure in himself, and he believes in his mission. No woman and no man can come across him and tell him what to do, because his inner mission is more important than anything else. And another obvious reason is that women are social beings, right? They are so in tune with their in-depth emotions. They are so good at understanding social relations. And this, therefore, makes them see right through your bullshit, bro. They know when you're lying. They know when you're capping and you're saying, oh yeah, I'm sweet. And you do all these things to impress her, and you spend money and you take on this and that date and this date and all this stuff. They see right through you. Why? Because you're not being genuine. They can tell when you're not being yourself and you're not being a man who goes for what he wants. And you know what? This inner kind of navigation system works incredibly well for women. There's a reason that they test you, and it's in order to protect themselves and choose a man that they know is going to be the ideal fit for them in the long run. It's perfectly healthy and it's perfectly normal. One could say that Lord Farquaad is the quote-unquote good guy. He's the guy that does everything right. He's a king, he's successful, he's romantic. But there's one little problem. There's one very little problem with Lord Farquaad, and it's not his height. The problem with Lord Farquaad is that he's kind of a monster, bro. Whereas our boy Shrek, right? He's an ogre. He's ugly, he's large and hideous. But you know what? Shrek's the good guy. Inside, at least. Shrek is the nice, dignified, good man. It's the exact same analogy with the quote-unquote nice guys, right? Why? Because nice guys do all these nice things. They take you on dates, they give you compliments, they tell you what you want to hear. But we all know at the end of the day that most nice guys, not all of them, but the ones that are obviously being nice guys to get something, are doing just that. They are being nice to get something out of a woman. Whereas the whole asshole stereotype, the whole Chad, the whole Tyrone, the whole like alpha male kind of persona, that guy, a lot of the time, he comes across as abrasive. He comes across as pretty mean and pretty straightforward and blunt. But you know what? At least that guy is being authentic. And you can truly respect him because you know what you're getting. When he says he wants to get laid, at least you know, okay, this guy's after sex. Fair enough. At least he's not coming about it in this nice, weaselly, kind of sneaky way in order to get what he wants. He'll tell you what he wants, and now you have the power, at least if you're a woman, you have the power to say, I want that, or I don't. And then you go from there. At least you know where you stand. And I don't know about you, but don't you think that it is absolutely so fitting that both Fiona and Shrek ended up being ogres at the end of the movie? And you can say what you want, like, oh, it's for the romantic storyline, or it was there to captivate audiences, wada, but take it in a real life situation. Don't you think it is fitting that both of their true natures were able to come together purely because they were okay, and not only just okay, but they were completely willing to be themselves? Why? Because if Shrek hadn't been the ogre that he was from the swamp on his purpose as an ogre, he would have never attracted Fiona, because he would have never known that Fiona too was a damn ogre. Brothers, you want to be yourself so that you can be accepted for who you truly are. If you treat this girl like a princess and she's actually an ogre, what do you think the outcome is going to be? No matter how tight your game is, no matter how smooth the pickup line, if you treat her like a princess and she's an ogre, you're going to get nowhere. Whereas if you just been the ogre from the beginning, you were true to yourself and you were honest and authentic with who you were, you might have actually had a shot at landing a fellow ogress. I don't know, these things aren't... What's the female word for ogre? Ogress, we're going to go with that. You would have landed your ideal soulmate ogress. That is a weird sentence, but you get what I mean. Be yourself, bros, so that you can attract your fellow ogress. Go out there and get the ogres, fellas. They're waiting for you. Be your damn self.